Post-training notice. National First-Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 43. Yao Nature. The next day, the sultry heat in Beijing was completely swept away by a rainstorm that blotted out the skies. The intense heat that had lasted for several days finally ended, and autumn had arrived late. When JIXIAN opened his eyes, he just felt a splitting headache and the sound of clattering everywhere. When he woke up, the first thing he noticed wasn't Xiang Cheng, but rather that something suddenly seemed to be monitoring him. It was Sigui. Sigui raised its head and stared at JIXIAN, and based on its position, it had been watching him for a long time. However, as soon as JIXIAN's gaze fell on Sigui hid its head under its wings. Hey! JIXIAN rubbed his forehead and sat up. There was no one in the room. The sounds of Xiang Cheng being busy came from outside, and there was a letter on the bedside table. JIXIAN rolled over and got up to take a bath. Everything from last night was like a dream, but there was still a bit of pain in his backside, and Xiang Cheng seemed to have come inside. JIXIAN raised his leg and tried his best to get it out. He stood under the water for a bit, his face was completely red. Was this Xiang Cheng tacitly agreeing to their relationship? Or had Xiang Cheng automatically treated him as a lover from the beginning? But shouldn't they confess or something? JIXIAN's head was full of pink bubbles. Was Xiang Cheng too shy? He must be even more embarrassed than himself, so it would be better not to behave too abnormally. JIXIAN felt that sex and love were like a contract. After last night, both sides had tacitly agreed to the relationship, which was really one of the most magical human behaviors in history. Are you up? Xiang Cheng asked outside. Yeah. JIXIAN said through the bathroom door. I have to go out right away, Xiang Cheng said. The exorcism committee sent a letter telling us to gather outside Lingjing Alley. Do I need to go? JIXIAN opened the door, revealing his dripping wet face with his hair stuck to his forehead. Xiang Cheng started laughing, and JIXIAN blushed, closed the door, and said, I'll finish washing up right away. You don't have to go. Xiang Cheng said. They're only asking exorcists to go. There's training. JIXIAN said, then go quickly. Are you coming back in the evening? Xiang Cheng knocked on the door with his fingers and said, Open up, JIXIAN. Just talk. JIXIAN's entire face was red. Although they had already done that last night, he really had no way to accept opening the door and letting Xiang Cheng in. Open the door, Xiang Cheng said. Then I'll tell you. JIXIAN said, No, give me a sec. Xiang Cheng pushed the door, and JIXIAN started shouting loudly inside. The door was already broken, and with Xiang Cheng's strength, it would be pushed down at once, and he hurried to prop the door up from inside. Go quickly, JIXIAN wailed. Xiang Cheng's voice carried a smile as he said, All right, breakfast is on the table. I'll come back as soon as possible. JIXIAN blushed and let out an N, even though he didn't know if Xiang Cheng heard it or not. JIXIAN, I. Xiang Cheng, carrying his duffel bag, shouted at the door. JIXIAN blushed to the root of his neck. There was still water in his ears, so he didn't hear it and shouted, What? Then he heard the door close, and Xiang Cheng was gone. He didn't know why, but he now felt relieved. After coming out, Xiang Cheng had stewed some hot and sour soup, and packed a full bowl of noodles with 4 eggs in it. After eating lunch, JIXIAN's face was still a little red. He thought, what should I do today? Today and yesterday, the day before yesterday, the day before the day before yesterday. Everything was similar, but JIXIAN's life had already undergone unprecedented changes. Maybe he could read a book. JIXIAN didn't know what studying was anymore at all, his mind was full of Xiang Cheng's hotness. Dating really did delay learning. No wonder high school sweethearts couldn't pass college entrance exams. During the days of love between two lovers, no study material could be absorbed, but speaking of that, Xiang Chen was still going to training? He could still study seriously? JIXIAN felt that there was an extra beam of light in his life, and he now had both a soft underbelly and strong armor. When he went online and saw on Weibo boyfriends and girlfriends, guys together, girls together, he just felt that everyone was so happy. I finally also have a boyfriend. I really want to give him a child. If only technology had developed to the point where two guys could have a kid, I have to be sure to cherish my hard-won boyfriend from now on. He didn't know why, but JIXIAN suddenly thought of that dream again. Was that Xiang Cheng's heart devil? Was that his hometown? JIXIAN looked at Xiang Cheng, and suddenly loved him even more. In fact, that kind of love and his initial feelings for Xiang Cheng were completely different. From a big and tall, thick and long hot duck, to the exorcist of now. He had gradually begun to know this completely different Xiang Cheng. Once, he had thought very simply, he would go work in Guangzhou, find a boyfriend, eat together after work, go home to watch TV, play games, and sleep. During the weekends they could go out to see movies and go shopping, living an average, ordinary kind of life. But Xiang Cheng had brought him an entirely different kind of life, pretty much using hard and fast ways to open up this new life of JIXIAN's. So, JIXIAN barely had time to think, simply following his dandelion, flying uncontrollably through the air. This didn't seem to be what JIXIAN had wanted. No, he should say that he had never thought about it before. But now that he thought about it, it still seemed pretty good. He had hoped for a change in his life, he just hadn't thought that it would change like this. He longed for love, but he did not expect this kind of love. JIXIAN flipped a page of the book, immersing himself in music and in his thoughts about life. What did he love? JIXIAN couldn't help but look at the picture of Xiang Cheng on his phone. He had secretly taken a picture of Xiang Cheng sleeping, as handsome as ever, looking like a teenager. Did he like his looks or his gentleness? Or did he like the life that he had brought him? After learning about Xiang Cheng's soul, for some reason, JIXIAN's attraction based purely on his appearance and body had gradually grown less. With the feelings that Xiang Cheng gave JIXIAN now, his soul had already completely eclipsed his appearance. Although sometimes a bit insecure and a bit gloomy, it seemed like every time Xiang Cheng looked at him, he would start to smile. Even if he didn't really show it, his eyes always carried a smile. JIXIAN lay there and felt that time was passing so slowly, so he went out to return some books. When he went out, he received a text message from Chen Zhen. Chen Zhen, are you free today? Come out to eat? JIXIAN, Xiang Cheng went to train law. I don't know when he will be back, I'll call him later, okay. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Xiang Cheng was writing a text message to JIXIAN on the subway. He wrote it, deleted it, wrote some more, and then finally deleted it again and didn't send it. The people around him stared at his cell phone. Send it said a girl. Yes send it ma, a male student said. Send it out ma, young man, an old lady said nearby. Everyone's expression was send the text quickly. We're dying of worry over here la. Xiang Cheng blushed, put his cell phone in his pocket, and got out of the train with his head down. Xiang Cheng, dressed all in sportswear, squeezed out of the subway station and arrived in the Lingjing alley. He went to register his admission card number for the exam, and Qi Wei just happened to be having a phone call at the side and greeted him. Xiang Cheng smiled at Qi Wei from a distance. Qi Wei. Kita. Xiang Cheng shouted at Kita. With two dark circles under his eyes, Kita waved at Xiang Cheng with a bored expression and said, hello. Xiang Cheng patted Kita's shoulder and asked, you don't have to go. Staff members don't need training. Kita looked Xiang Cheng up and down and said, it seems that you had a good time last night Xiang Cheng's mouth drew up uncontrollably. There was a whistle in the square, indicating that it was time to get on the bus, and there were people outside the bus collecting cell phones. Xiang Cheng held his cell phone and thought about it. Finally, he sent a text message to Ji Xiaoduo. Xiang Cheng, Xiaoduo, I'll miss you. Take good care of yourself. Kita. Xiang Cheng looked back. Let Xiaoduo stay at your house, ba. Kita let out an O and listlessly watched the bus leave. Xiang Cheng held his bag as he got on the bus. Chi Wei leaned against the window and turned his head to look at Xiang Cheng. The corners of Xiang Cheng's mouth turned up slightly. Xiang Cheng. Chi Wei, Xiang Xiang has had a good time in Beijing? You're talking more too, did something good happen? Xiang Cheng recovered his impassive expression and said coldly, no. Chi Wei. Chen Zhen stood on the floor of the United Front Work Department of the Exorcist Committee and looked down. The bus drove away, and he thought for a bit, before saying to Zhou Mokuo opposite him, ask Xiaoduo another day, ba. Zhou Mokuo read Xiang Cheng's application, put it aside, and solemnly opened up a file, all without speaking. I'm already an early retiree, Zhou Mokuo said carelessly. I shouldn't have to handle the association's matters. Chen Zhen let out an N, and Zhou Mokuo asked, what are those above you saying? Chen Zhen said, they say that the Buddha wants you to be re-employed, and she will retire the year after next. Maybe she still wants you to come back and take charge of the organization department. She doesn't want you over there? She's short of people now. Zhou Mokuo said, I can't be the head of the organization department anymore. It's a good thing for veterans of the exorcism committee to retire smoothly and peacefully, taking charge of the information department and issuing examinations to everyone. Besides, many newcomers don't even know who I am. Chen Zhen sighed and said, there may be a lot of new blood coming in this year. As for who is in charge of the organization department, the transfer order has not come down yet. How about Gagan Torura Kita? Zhou Mokuo said. Chen Zhen didn't say anything. Zhou Mokuo then said, Xiang Chenchi, won't do. He's very smart, Chen Zhen said. I want him to join the exorcism committee. According to Kita, we should let him join the field department. He won't pass the politics screening. Zhou Mokuo sighed and said, they won't even let him pass the first-class exorcist exam. That person is very dangerous. Chen Zhen's eyebrows twitched. Zhou Mokuo said, I know what you mean, he is really talented. However, this person is very good at hiding himself, just like a snake in the dark. Chen Zhen didn't refute this and nodded, while Zhou Mokuo said, the impulsiveness and stiffness you see are all him putting on an act. He has a snake's nature. I have never known what happened that year, Chen Zhen thought for a moment and then said seriously, but I think. Teacher, the resentment and old debts of the previous generation should not be borne by him. Zhou Mokuo laughed, shook his head, and said, did he make it clear that he wanted to get the license? Chen Zhen said, perhaps he is a very simple person. I'm just afraid he isn't that simple. Zhou Mokuo leaned against the back of the swivel chair, turned a bit, and looked out of the floor-to-ceiling window at Beijing's cloudy sky. His mother may have been kind in his childhood, Zhou Mokuo said. According to our investigation of the Xiang family, that was the case, but when he was about 7 or 8, the snake Yao left his family. Chen Zhen didn't answer, instead listening carefully, unconsciously spinning a ballpoint pen in his hand. During this time, Zhou Mokuo said, the snake Yao was corrupted, and when she returned to the father and son, he was 17 years old. It was only because of that the siege of Wu Mountain occurred. I don't know what kind of indelible mark a mother who became a devil would leave on her son's life. Chen Zhen said, but according to our reports, Xiang Cheng has never killed any humans. He has undertaken his father's last request and faithfully exorcised devils. He doesn't even care that much about the money. Don't you think that the more honest a person is and the more they don't ask for anything in return, Zhou Mokuo said casually, the more unusual they are? Chen Zhen smiled and didn't answer. Zhou Mokuo said, his performance is just to tell all of us, look, although I am the son of a snake Yao, I still listen to my father. What kind of person was Xiang Jianhua? Chen Zhen asked. Xiang Jianhua's character was beyond doubt. Zhou Mokuo took out Xiang Cheng's father's file and handed it to Chen Zhen. Chen Zhen sighed and said, first-class members also have to go through a politics screening. So, it's impossible that they will let him get the first-class qualification certificate. Zhou Mokuo said, that day he already slipped up in front of me. The association owes him a favor. Although I don't know what intent he had in helping you, I have already returned the sword of wisdom to him. Chen Zhen. I hope the sword of wisdom can suppress the evil in him. But with the JIXIAN case, Chen Zhen said. It was precisely because of that he betrayed himself, Zhou Mokuo said, he is careful in his thoughts and reasonable in his handling of matters. When he cooperated with you on the JIXIAN case, he did so in a tacit way. How can such a person be unable to control his temper? His every word and deed shows that his attitude towards you guys was planned, and his attitude towards the old Buddha was also designed. When he can't plan out his words and deeds ahead of time, then he chooses to not talk. His goal is to make everyone think that he is a simple man. As long as you are a simple person, your thoughts will be easy to guess. Zhou Mokuo said, it creates the illusion that whoever you are, you won't carry and dwell on the grudges of the past. Because of his family background, everyone must be a little wary of him, but no one will think that he is some kind of threat. Aren't you one of them? Chen Zhen was silent. I keep feeling that in his heart, he still has human feelings. Chen Zhen said, at least he won't be completely overtaken by his Yao nature. You can see it with JIXIAN at his side. If he planned carefully and has only hidden himself for all these years simply for revenge, he definitely wouldn't bring a child, no, a young man who hasn't grown up yet, with him. Zhou Mokuo said, then give me a detailed report and investigate based on the people that he keeps company with. At least for now, this reason alone is not enough to convince me to let him pass. Chen Zhen sighed and nodded. Zhou Mokuo said, did he show any intention of retreating and not wanting to take the exam again? Chen Zhen replied, he didn't say it to my face, but I feel like he may be feeling a little bit of that. That's it then. Zhou Mokuo unscrewed the lid of the thermos cup and replied, the pressure of enduring humiliation to carry out a duty is too great. It is difficult to choose between the mission and reality. On the one hand, he wants to give up revenge and live out an ordinary person's life, but on the other hand, he is affected by a heart devil. Chen Zhen replied, you can't say that. Zhou Mokuo glanced at Chen Zhen and said, for a member of the Akalanatha clan, an exorcist who has been running around in the worlds of Yao and human since the age of 7, to actually balk in front of a registration examination. Don't you think that's unreasonable to begin with? Chen Zhen rubbed his eyebrows. Even so, Chen Zhen said, this also proves that he has some hesitation in his heart. Even if it is just a little, his human nature still suppresses his Yao nature. This does not constitute a reason for me to pass him here. Zhou Mokuo said, my responsibility is to ensure that there will be no chances for unrest. The exorcism committee is facing a change of office and many crises. I have been working for 30 years, and this is the first time that I am encountering such a difficult situation. I don't know who is an enemy and who is an ally, Zhou Mokuo said, just like how this time, all matters were within the calculations of the JIXIAN and JIXIAN. They chose Xiang Cheng as the breakthrough point and gave the clue to JIXIAN, so that he could infer their identity. It seems that he handed the initiative over to you, but in fact, he set up a carefully calculated play. This play has been set up ever since Xiang Cheng came to Beijing and signed up for the exam, and it played out all the way until Yan Fei was arrested. But I'm still not sure if, behind the JIXIAN, there is a hidden someone who is in a position of influence even higher than Yan Fei's. Zhou Mokuo said. Since that's how things stand, could it be that Xiang Cheng's arrival was also part of this plan? Chen Zhen said, but you have already given him the sword of wisdom. Technically, he took it away by himself. Zhou Mokuo said, let's not talk about this any longer. Teacher, Chen Zhen said, I still hope that Xiang Cheng can pass the exam, or at least that he will not be reduced to second class because of issues with his politics screening. This is the decision I've come to after considering this comprehensively. Zhou Mokuo was about to get up, but upon hearing what Chen Zhen said, he sat back and thought for a long time. I fully understand what you mean. Chen Zhen thought for a while and thought hard about his wording. You are standing at the position of nipping troubles in the bud. Let's think about it from another angle, Chen Zhen said. If you completely dispel a person's heart devil, then give him your complete trust, isn't that also another way of doing it? Chen Zhen raised his eyes and looked at Zhou Mokuo. The power to dispel demons is light. Chen Zhen said, to this day, I still remember the first sentence in the textbook. You compiled the 07 version of the Exorcist textbook, which states, we will never use strength to contain any shadows or devils, and the only way to eliminate hatred and pain is to cast a light on it with the strength of human nature. After Chen Zhen finished these words, the two sides were silent. In other words, 5 minutes later, Chen Zhen continued, if the boss snake's Yao nature is suppressed again and again, and finally gives up, mingles with the crowd, and becomes one of the monitoring members of the exorcism committee, smoothly and stably, without any problems, that's all good, but what if it doesn't happen as we said? My father gave me the heart lamp, Chen Zhen said in a somewhat restrained fashion, and the family's legacy is precisely to use this light to light up the world, shining a light into the darkness beyond the reach of people's hearts. Xiang Cheng still retains a kind of human nature in his heart, which can be seen from him being together with JIXIAN. He longs for this bit of human feeling, and he detests that Yao nature in his soul. Chen Zhen thought for a moment. This is my personal wish. I will monitor his actions, and if an uncontrollable situation occurs, I will act in a timely fashion to stop him. If necessary, I will even take the necessary measures. But as long as nothing happens, Chen Zhen said, I'd rather believe that this opportunity can make him change his mind towards humans, and that change can accumulate more bit by bit. This accumulation may, when the moment comes when he releases his heart devil, reverse an otherwise certain, foregone conclusion. In the best case scenario, maybe this moment will never appear, but it's not meaningless. Zhou Mokuo said, Chen Zhen, you are an idealist, just like your heart lamp. Zhou Mokuo got up and left. Chen Zhen followed him to the elevator. Zhou Mokuo didn't agree or disagree with him. The elevator door closed, and Zhou Mokuo left. In September, Beijing had gradually cooled down. JIXIAN returned his books to the library. Standing in front of the bookshelf, he took down a book, and came face to face with Zhou Mokuo, who was standing opposite him. JIXIAN. Zhou Mokuo nodded to JIXIAN. JIXIAN hurriedly said, hello, Teacher Zhou. Xiang Cheng went to training, did you know? Zhou Mokuo asked. I know. JIXIAN replied, felt that it was somewhat strange, and asked, does teacher often come to this library? I'm just walking around, Zhou Mokuo said, I guessed that the two of you were inseparable, so that's why I asked that. You don't need to worry about it. JIXIAN smiled, went to borrow a book and came out with Zhou Mokuo. Zhou Mokuo said, it's on my way, so I'll take you back. How is studying for the exam going? Zhou Mokuo was over 50, but he was still very energetic. JIXIAN sat in the front passenger seat and said, I don't know whether the Yao subduing engineer test is difficult or not. The Yao subduing equipment division. Zhou Mokuo thought about it and said, it has good future prospects, you can research things yourself and develop some magical weapons, and you can also help your colleagues. JIXIAN was also thinking about this matter and said, but I don't know how to inject spirit or whatever into magical weapons. No one knows how to do it the first time. Jomokuo drove the car and replied, there are also specific processes. Make bold plans, but carry them out carefully, although that is easier said than done. JIXIAN suddenly wondered, could he make a magical weapon for Xiangchang? He could go to the Exorcist underground mall another day to look around and buy some materials or something. Jomokuo asked, does Xiangcheng have any confidence? It should be okay. JIXIAN said, he's studying very seriously right now. Jomokuo nodded and asked how they knew each other, and JIXIAN told him a bit about the past. Of course, he didn't tell Jomokuo about calling a duck and the rest, so as not to shock him. He just said that he met him at a friend's party, the matter with the geisha, Huan, and other Yaogwai. These were all things Xiangcheng had told him about. He himself had already forgotten these matters. Jomokuo listened throughout the entire trip and nodded from time to time. JIXIAN said, Teacher Joe, I want to make a magical weapon, is it hard? I can't tell you how to now, Jomokuo said, but after the exam, you can come to my house. Okay. JIXIAN nodded gratefully and said, where can I buy a book about making magic weapons? Magical weapon making, Yao subduing equipment. Jomokuo thought for a moment and said, Director Chen's mother was a famous magic weapon identification expert, and there are many rare manuscripts in his home. You can borrow them from him. Excellent. JIXIAN texted Chen Zhen at the door of his house and said goodbye to Jomokuo. Jomokuo slid the car window back up and left. JIXIAN had come home with takeout, but Xiangcheng still wasn't back yet. It couldn't be that it was a night class, right? JIXIAN drew out the letter on the bedside table, which was a notice. Today, all exorcists are invited to gather outside Lingjing Alley and leave at 8 p.m. by bus for closed training in the Fengtai district. Members who have signed up for the first class exam, please hurry to the exorcism square before 8 p.m. with your admission cards and necessary daily necessities. The training period is 12 days, and the examination period is 3 days. Cell phones are not allowed during the training. Please inform your family in advance. After that was Xiangcheng's note. JIXIAN, I just received this letter. I'm afraid of there being a traffic jam and arriving late, so I'm leaving first. Yesterday. Several places were meticulously crossed out, and very obviously it had once been the words yesterday night. I'll be back very soon. Wait for me. JIXIAN shouted loudly in his heart, motherfucker. Ah. Why didn't they say earlier that the training plus the exam would take half a month to complete? Exorcism committee, you'll be kicked by a donkey if you do such a thing, bah. We just did that last night, ah. Calling him away today, wasn't that not letting people live? This was really doing things offensive to God and reason, right? End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 44. Snake Hun. A text message came from Chen Zhen. I can, but I can't lend my books outside of my house. You have to come to my house to read them. Anytime is fine. JIXIAN hadn't decided yet, but since Xiangcheng left and he was now left living on his own, what was he supposed to do? Can I come now? JIXIAN asked Chen Zhen. Of course, you're welcome anytime. Has Xiangcheng already left? I saw him get on the bus. If you don't have any plans, then come to my house to play with Xiao Lang. I have to work overtime today anyways, so why don't I come pick you up after work? JIXIAN replied in the affirmative, and he laid down disinterestedly on the bed. When Chen Zhen came to pick him up, he was clearly very tired, and he seemed to be anxious and undecided over something. Zhi Xiaoduo was also in low spirits. Zhi Xiaoduo's phone rang, it was Kita on the other end. Xiang Cheng went for training, Kita said. He told me to go take care of you for a few days, should I come over to pick you up now? Chen Zhen took the phone and informed Kita that he had already picked Zhi Xiaoduo up. It was only then that Kita arranged for them to go grab a meal together when they were free, and he hung up. Why do you all not need the training? Zhi Xiaoduo asked dejectedly. It was only yesterday that we. Just what? Chen Zhen watched the road, focused. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately replied in all seriousness, nothing much. There was an air of smug cunningness around Chen Zhen as he replied, if we also went for training, who would do the work? Neither Keaton nor I need to attend the training, we just need to directly do the written exam. But it doesn't have to be for this long, does it? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. It's very necessary, Chen Zhen replied, raising an eyebrow. This decision was also one that was made known to us at the last minute, because the organization needs to observe and rule out a few things through the training. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately understood. It was most likely because of that matter with Yan Fei. The exorcism committee was definitely suspicious, because Yan Fei had wanted to take this opportunity to swap in a bunch of his own subordinates. As for who exactly these subordinates were, that would require them to perform a second verification. How many people went? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. About 3,000 baht, Chen Zhen replied. Zhi Xiaoduo asked, where are they assembling for the training? Don't ask this, there's no use even if you know, Chen Zhen said. Zhi Xiaoduo acted like the resentful shao of a pair of mandarin ducks that had been beaten with sticks, but he had no choice but to take it. On top of that, he wouldn't be able to communicate with Xiang Cheng for a good half a month. When Xiao Lang finds out that you're coming, he's definitely going to be very happy. What spurred you to suddenly search through the ancient scrolls? Do you want to make an artifact? Zhi Xiaoduo said. I want to give Xiang Cheng one. That's pretty good, Chen Zhen said suddenly, as he was driving. Depending on and supporting each other. Do you have someone you like? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. He felt that since Chen Zhen had been taking care of his brother all this time without dating, perhaps he was afraid that Chen Lang would feel lonely, but Chen Zhen didn't have anyone to take care of him then. Chen Zhen smiled but didn't say anything. When Zhi Xiaoduo arrived at Chen Zhen's house, Chen Lang was currently sitting in darkness reading a braille book. When he heard footsteps, he rose and walked towards them, like a ghost, scaring Zhi Xiaoduo half to death. Chen Zhen turned on the lights, and like the lights, his tired expression lit up. He smiled as he said to Chen Lang, Xiaoduo's come to play with you. Chen Lang used his hand to touch Zhi Xiaoduo's face, and he began to smile. Zhi Xiaoduo stood in the hallway as Chen Lang kept touching him, but he felt that this was merely very entertaining and very comfortable. He touched Chen Lang's face as well, teasing him. Chen Zhen wrote a few words in Chen Lang's hand, before he went off on his own to heat up his little brother's food. Chen Zhen's house was very quiet, just like the Beijing households in the 90s that they saw on TV. The layout seemed to not have changed in many years, and when Chen Lang sat quietly at the table, eating dinner, Zhi Xiaoduo also ate a bowl. The dishes were lightly flavored, and suddenly his entire being felt both simple and refreshed. Xiang Cheng. He's gone on a long trip, he doesn't want me anymore. Zhi Xiaoduo smiled as he responded to Chen Lang, and from that day on, he took up residence in Chen Zhen's house. There were still 10+ days until the exam, so Chen Zhen pulled out the sofa bed in Chen Lang's room, letting Zhi Xiaoduo and Chen Lang sleep in the same room. An auntie came by in the day to tidy up, but aside from that, there were basically no other disturbances. Chen Zhen's house was also located in a very secluded community, so every day, even the sounds of the wind through the leaves of the trees outside the distant wall could be heard. Autumn had arrived. Chen Zhen and Chen Lang were the heirs to a very ancient large clan, and the things that Chen Lang knew far surpassed what JIXIAN had expected. He seemed to know almost everything. He was basically a walking database. Aside from that, Chen Zhen also had a braille printer at home, so that sea of information could be scanned into the computer, then printed out in braille. What Chen Lang did every day was read, and he read all kinds of books. Of course, these books had been carefully selected by Chen Zhen, and a large portion of them were ancient tomes, while the rest were a few famous works and novels. Chen Lang really liked to read novels, and JIXIAN's arrival opened up a new world for him. Every day, what JIXIAN did was introduce the books that he had read. As long as Chen Lang was interested in them, JIXIAN would go online and buy an electronic version, then use a program to convert them to braille, before printing them out. JIXIAN sent Xiang Cheng texts for a few days, but he didn't respond. What was he doing? Training, was that cultivation? JIXIAN began to think of an image of Xiang Cheng sitting under a waterfall. He had even brought Si Gui with him, but he had gone who knows where. Before, they had been together every day, so JIXIAN hadn't realized, but as soon as they were apart, he began to miss Xiang Cheng strongly. JIXIAN was a mola of many words. He spoke what he wanted to say, and even when he didn't have anything to say, he would still find something to talk about. With that, in less than 3 days, he had completely poured out all his thoughts about his own love and troubles to Chen Lang. And what he was most stuck on was when he was taking a shower and Xiang Cheng had wanted to come in. What had he wanted to come in for? Was it to confess to him, to summarize what had happened that night? Perhaps he wants to come in to kiss you, was Chen Lang's reply to that. JIXIAN had already changed how he was communicating with Chen Lang to using the printer in the Chen family to do so. JIXIAN hugged the keyboard and typed in a long string of words, then printed it out using the braille printer for Chen Lang to touch. Chen Lang then used his special handwriting tablet and wrote a huge pile of words for JIXIAN to read. With that, they achieved a quick but simple method of communication, and every day they could talk about a lot of stuff endlessly. The amount of language they used to communicate had clearly increased by a lot from before as well. It's only now that I'm beginning to realize, I understand far too little about Xiang Cheng. The owner of the little convenience store downstairs from my place knows about the same amount. I feel like I can't guess what he's thinking at all. Then why don't you ask him? If he wants to say something, then of course he would tell me, right? Perhaps. Chen Lang's left hand stroked the endless communication log that came out from the printer, while his other hand wrote away on the tablet. With gentle touches of his ring finger, the words were projected on the screen. But some people are not willing to share their troubles with others. Gege is that kind of person, and sometimes I can feel that he's very sad but he won't say anything. JIXIAN and Chen Lang had chatted for several days now, and Chen Lang seemed to greatly enjoy this kind of communication. Having been locked away in the darkness for a long time, he hadn't been able to chat with basically anyone. However, with Chen Zhen, the brothers liked to use bodily touch to communicate simple signals, or they'd use their fingers to point, or touch the backs of each other's hands gently, to understand one another's meaning. Chen Lang seemed to be considering how to word his thoughts, but the printer hummed, spitting out long paragraphs of JIXIAN's thoughts regarding romantic love, brotherly affection, and familial love. Chen Lang's fingers brushed over that for a long while before he nodded. This time, he didn't have too long of a response, he merely stroked JIXIAN's head to comfort him. You two talked this much? Chen Zhen said when he got off work and saw the printer paper that spread all over the floor and the 2 GB of picture files. That's right, JIXIAN replied. Yeah. Chen Lang used the stylus to reply. Chen Lang seemed to have fallen in love with this style of communication, and he didn't seem to be able to stop. Even when it came time for dinner, he was still writing a bunch of words to Chen Zhen, asking him about work, and Chen Zhen could only answer them one by one. Talk a little less, Chen Zhen said, torn between laughing and crying. Aren't you too tired? But we're not tired. Yeah. Chen Lang replied with the stylus. Chen Zhen was at a loss for how to deal with these two, and he said, let's eat, let's eat. Recently, JIXIAN had been studying the creation of artifacts, including every kind of transferring Hun, injecting spirit, and the like. For example, some artifacts required power from the creator's Po, but after drawing it out, that didn't necessarily mean that the power of that Po necessarily vanished. There were still a bunch of different kinds of connections between the Po and the creator. It was just like a kind of body splitting technique, where one could tear a chunk of oneself off to create a separate body that could take on some of the creator's own thoughts and actions, but was not completely controlled by the main body. Chen Zhen's mink, Kita's gray wolf, and Zhou Wanyuan's white deer all had physical forms that were created through this kind of Hun transfer technique. Unless the exorcists themselves were equipped with this talent of creating a protective spiritual soul, very few people could achieve such an effect. As soon as a human soul split into another sentient being, the damage to the original body would be very great. JIXIAN didn't know why Chen Zhen would create a mink from his own soul, but the reason for his health not being very good was probably also because of this. Xiang Cheng's Ba snake was not formed from a Hun transfer technique, but of course, he didn't ask about that either. If I split a piece of my soul off, just like the Horcruxes in Harry Potter, can I create a powerful artifact? JIXIAN asked while he was eating. It's not the same, Chen Zhen replied. That's just a fantasy of the writer. Creating artifacts does not depend on the power of your Hunpo, but rather your Hunpo itself. Amongst the 3 Hun and 7 Po, the 3 Hun cannot be touched, because no matter which Hun it is, if you use it at all, you'll die. Oh, JIXIAN replied. Then what about the 7 Po? The 7 Po can be split off, Chen Zhen replied. After a human dies, the 7 Po dissipate, while the 3 Hun return to the spiritual veins of the heavens and earth. The 7 Po are all the power that that person possesses. The first Po refers to Tianchang, the second is the Linghui, the third is your Qi, the fourth is your Li, the fifth is your Zongshu, the sixth is your Jing, and the seventh is your Ying. So all artifacts can also be split into 7 kinds, JIXIAN said in reply. That's right, Chen Zhen said, nodding. The artifacts that Yao subduing engineers make are split into 7 kinds, Chang, Hui, Qi, Li, Shu, Jing, and Ying. Every artifact is refined by the Yao subduing engineer from one of their own Po. They either carry it on themselves, or they hand it over to people that they trust to use them. It's just like how back in the day, the husband and wife duo Ganzhong and Moyi crafted swords and eventually ended up putting their essence into a pair of swords. That's also a process for creating artifacts. JIXIAN replied, the books really make it too obscure, because after reading them, I can only guess at the general gist. For example, Chen Zhen explained, making a gesture, if we pull out your lipo to create a brick. JIXIAN made a smack motion. Then that would become an artifact, Chen Zhen said. You could then hand it to an exorcist, for example, Xiao Lang, and allow him to use your Yao subduing brick, JIXIAN supplied. If Xiao Lang uses it to subdue Yao, Chen Zhen said, then he can use your artifact to exert a huge amount of strength. Of course, if Xiao Lang smashes the brick, JIXIAN said, adding a sentence to comfort Xiao Lang, this is only an example. He then said to Chen Zhen, adopting an air of seriousness, then my Po would kick the bucket. Chen Lang couldn't hear that anyways in the first place, and he continued to eat quietly. Strictly speaking, it would have dissipated, Chen Zhen explained. Because Po must follow the rules of tangible existence, your Li Po will have disappeared. JIXIAN nodded, recalling what the books had said, and he asked, then the 7 chakras in the human body, do they match up with these 7 Po? Chen Zhen nodded and explained, the Tianchang chakra resides at the top of your head, and primarily governs your mind and insight. The Mizan chakra resides at the Mizan point, and primarily governs your eyes and your observation skills. The Qi Po resides in your throat and controls breathing, speech, and your sense of taste and smell. The Li Po is in the heart chakra, and primarily governs your resolution and beliefs. The Zhongshu Po is in your Danshan, and people with powerful Zhongshu Po have a strong vitality. Their bodies are very good, as it is the central point that mediates all of the chakras. My Ming is created from my Zhongshu Po, which is why when it is distant or tired, my body will be damaged. The Jing Po is your Shenzi chakra, and it represents the power of reproduction. Chen Zhen said, the power to produce future generations. The Ying Po is at the Hadi chakra, and it's located at the bottom of your feet. It takes the form of a dual chakra, and it represents your ability to move. This ability is not entirely composed of your ability to walk, but rather represents the ability to take action when you think of something. Some people are very lazy, and no matter what they do, they can't seem to find the energy to do it. This kind of laziness is because the power of their Ying Po is not enough, and likewise, in the winter, their hands and feet are icy cold. The Ying Po is governed by the spleen, and the spleen meridian has to be kept in good condition. At the same time, one has to stay upbeat and practice the power to move, so that the Po will increase in strength as well. JIXIAN said. Then for the dragon pupil Yao power that resides in my Mizan chakra, does that mean it's in the Linghui Po? Chen Zhen replied, to be accurate, that cannot be considered Yao power but rather dragon power. Normal Yao power will corrupt a human's body, which is why the saying humans and Yao cannot coexist came about. If I can pull out the Linghui Po and refine it into an artifact, JIXIAN asked in response, will the dragon pupil come out with it? That's right, Chen Zhen replied. The Yao revealing mirror and the Yao distinguishing bell are products of the Linghui Po taken physical form. You can also choose not to use your own Po, but rather gather up the Po of others. The stronger the power of the Linghui Po, the stronger the artifact that can be created from it. But normally, you won't be able to come across any Han Po that can be used, because as soon as a person's Po leaves the body, it will quickly vanish, unless. JIXIAN interjected, I won't kill people law. Chen Zhen replied, I'm just mentioning it. After all, no one will completely, willingly hand over their own Po to create artifacts. Usually, people who hand over their Po to obtain wealth or such similar things in exchange don't have very powerful Han Po. Creating artifacts requires a strong desire on the part of the creator. JIXIAN thought for a bit, before continuing, a strong desire. For example, protecting a person, or protecting this world, Chen Zhen said. JIXIAN, I understand. Then, speaking of which, since Yao Lang can't see, could it be that his Linghui Po, Tianchong Po, and Qi Po were all damaged? Chen Zhen shook his head. These three Po of his are different from that of mortals. The shape of his chakras are different. The chakras are 7 Pos reside in rotate in a clockwise direction, while his rotates in a counterclockwise direction. JIXIAN, is it possible to use other Po to substitute for them? It's not, Chen Zhen replied. The power of his chakras is too strong, and this is something that cannot be substituted. The Zhongshu Po is just like a tree, on which grows 7 branches. You can't break one off and graft another one on. Then what about the dragon pupil? JIXIAN had spent so long on this topic as a cover for asking his most important question. The dragon pupil can possess my Linghui Po, so technically it can also possess his. JIXIAN glanced at Chen Lang. Chen Zhen stopped in his movements. Can it? Can it? JIXIAN didn't ask any further. He knew that by asking up to this point, Chen Zhen had understood. Chen Lang also felt the atmosphere between the two of them, and he stopped eating. His fingers tapped against the table, and he sketched out a question mark. Chen Zhen replied, the power of his chakras is very strong. I've tried several times to interfere, but I think it won't work. Even if it does, I am not willing to let you take this risk. What if there's only a slight possibility? JIXIAN asked. Don't you want to try it? No, Chen Zhen said. It'll be dangerous for you. The chakras that Xiao Lang's 7 Po form will attack everything that tries to interfere with them. I tried to use the Zhongsha Po to create a protector beast so that I could correct the rotation of Xiao Lang's chakras, but that definitely won't work. The Zhongsha Po is the most important Po in the body, and it represents your vitality. Unless absolutely necessary, it must not be used to create an artifact, because if that artifact is ever damaged, you'll be done for. But JIXIAN was already set on that course of action, so nothing could stop him. Then how is Xiang Cheng's boss snake formed? JIXIAN asked while he was at it. You can ask him yourself, Chen Zhen replied. He won't tell me, JIXIAN said. He will, Chen Zhen said in response. JIXIAN no longer wanted to use that kind of method where he waited for Xiang Cheng to tell him, because he found that Xiang Cheng wouldn't tell him anything at all. Whether it was because he was afraid of worrying JIXIAN, or if it was because they weren't close, JIXIAN had to take the initiative in starting to understand Xiang Cheng. He won't. JIXIAN had finished eating, and Chen Lang had been waiting the entire time. When he heard the sound of JIXIAN putting the chopsticks down, he took his bowl from him and began to clear the table and wash up. He will, Chen Zhen insisted. Aren't you two lovers? We're not, JIXIAN said expressionlessly. I feel like you two are, Chen Zhen said. Perhaps there's still a bit of time until he understands his own feelings, but he definitely likes you. Xiao Lang, let me wash today ba. JIXIAN thought, Chen Zhen, you're such a sensible person, but the focus of today is not that. He chased after Chen Zhen, saying, tell me ba. I can't casually discuss gossip about others, Chen Zhen said, washing a plate. Never mind that the gossip involves a secret of the association. JIXIAN replied, telling me doesn't count as gossiping. I love him, so I want to know everything about him. Only this way can I love him better. Chen Zhen kept washing the plate as he raised his eyes to look at the tiles. I can't. I will be grateful to you, JIXIAN said. Chen Zhen stopped talking. JIXIAN replied, I'm going to kneel down now. Chen Zhen. Chen Zhen's hands were covered in bubbles as he turned to look at JIXIAN. JIXIAN hugged Chen Lang's legs as he knelt with one knee to the ground, his entire face set in an expression of pleading. Chen Lang. I'm going to tattle to Xiao Lang, JIXIAN said, before he picked up Chen Lang's hand and began to write. All right, Chen Zhen said, sighing. I'll tell you. That's not a Po, it's his Hun. He has 4 Hun, and the 4th one is a Yao Hun. JIXIAN. JIXIAN was tongue-tied, and he asked, he has 1 extra Hun? How did he manage that? This is something I really don't know, Chen Zhen replied. Even if you kowtow, there's no use. JIXIAN didn't ask any further either. He nodded. This answer was too shocking. What effect does it have on him? JIXIAN asked. Up until now, Chen Zhen replied, there has been no other case, so you can only ask him yourself. If you can compile this case into a book of teaching materials, the committee will give you funding. Back then, there were a lot of people who published articles in exorcism business discussing this phenomenon. So, it was like that, there was a Yao Han in Xiang Cheng's body. JIXIAN went flipping through all of Chen Zhen's books, but as expected, there were no other cases of this. End chapter.